Any tube closures are disruptive for commuters, but this one could hit harder than most. Part of the Northern Line is out of action now for 17 weeks for upgrades at Bank Station. Because of the work from home guidance, it didn't affect as many city workers as it might. But what about when restrictions are lifted? Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
There's nothing like a chilly winter morning to put a smile on the face of hot drink sellers. But unfortunately for Matt, shivering commuters were in short supply. Many of his regular customers work from home. Now the Northern Line through the city has shut for 17 weeks.
I couldn't really spend any money at Christmas because I didn't know what was going to happen in January. So we just had to sort of strip everything back and not do anything and save as much money as we could.
Hey, good day.
Alfred has run a sandwich shop in the city for 17 years. He too is struggling.
Before pandemic, he was so busy you can't imagine. The queue on the doors and not only me, but everyone around. Now, it's like a ghost town.
City businesses, big and small, are desperate for the government to scrap the work from home rule. The decision could come next week when ministers review the latest data from the NHS.
Of course, we've got to put health first, but it is looking very promising when we look at the figures. Let's see how we can bring people safely back to their offices as quickly as possible and learn to live with this virus in a way which allows people to get back around their everyday lives.
The closure of the Northern Line's bank branch couldn't have come at a worse time for some small businesses. It's also a headache for commuters.
I'm going to have to go very far west to then go across, so yeah, I've set off about 40 minutes early today.
It just means I'm going to have to take the long way around. It is upsetting, but what can we do?
I mean, it would have been nice if they'd done it during the pandemic when fewer people were travelling.
The line has shut as part of a £700 million upgrade of Bank Station. Engineers have dug a new southbound tunnel to accommodate a bigger platform. Now the old and new tunnels need to be connected, and that means the trains must stop. The disruption is much less than it might have been thanks to Plan B and the work from home rule. But if the restrictions are lifted next week, then 155,000 commuters a day will have to find another way to get to work.
If there was any other way to do this, we would. We're trying to mitigate the inconvenience for customers. We've increased the number of trains on the Charing Cross branch from 24 trains per hour to 32 trains per hour.
The bank branch will reopen in May. The new Bank Station should be ready at the end of the year. If the government and TfL fail to agree a new funding deal, it could be the last major station improvement for some time.
Simon, you did mention TfL's funding issues in that, and there's been another warning from the Mayor today, hasn't there?
Yeah, there have been a few from him about what could happen if TfL doesn't get the money it needs. He's talked about cutting the number of tube trains, axing bus routes and even closing an entire tube line. Well, today came a new one. He's threatening to take the entire fleet of so-called Boris buses off the road. Now, these second-generation route masters were introduced under Boris Johnson when he was mayor. Sadiq Khan says they're in need of a midlife upgrade. Improvements will cost something like £31 million. And if TfL hasn't got the money, it may be forced to take them out of service. He calls all this managed decline. The Conservatives call it scaremongering. Clearly designed to catch the eye of the Prime Minister, this particular proposal, but so far no response from Downing Street.
All right, Simon, thanks very much. Good evening. As we know, the Mayor's been on a mission to get Londoners out of their cars and onto public transport, walking or cycling. And he's planning on stepping it up a gear. By 2024, Sadiq Khan wants to charge every single driver £2 per day to hit the road for the whole of London to come under the ultra-low emission zone and a whole host of other plans. Clean air campaigners are happy, but small businesses say it could be crippling for those on lower incomes. The Mayor, though, is adamant this is the cost of creating a greener capital. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Paying to drive in London is nothing new. The congestion charge is almost 20 years old. It was followed by the ultra-low emission zone in 2019. But pollution levels are still too high. Now London's Mayor has come up with his most radical plan yet. He wants to cut traffic on the capital's roads by more than a quarter before the end of the decade. And that means forcing drivers to abandon their cars.
If we're serious about tackling the climate emergency, if we're serious about reducing air pollution, if we're serious about cutting congestion, I think we've got to be serious about reducing car journeys in this mayoral term.
Isn't it only fair that voters should have a say on whether these drastic proposals go ahead?
And they did. I campaigned last May.
You didn't campaign on expanding the ULEZ to the whole of Greater London.
I campaigned last May to be the greenest mayor London had ever seen.
Extending the ultra-low emission zone to all of Greater London is just one of the options. Another is a £2 clean air charge for all petrol and diesel cars. And a £3.50 boundary charge for all drivers from outside London is back on the table. Eventually, the Mayor would like to replace all charges in London with road pricing. That's charging drivers per mile, but the technology for that is still a long way off. Like many businesses, Vicky's flower shop in Bromley runs on tight margins. She uses 2 older cars to make deliveries. Both would attract the £12.50 a day charge if the ULEZ was extended.
We can't ask our customers to pay any more on delivery fees. As it is, the petrol's not going down for us. So we'd have to sort of stop trading on doing any flower deliveries, collections, but that ain't going to be no good because the high street's gone so quiet.
At his dry cleaners, Amit accepts something has to be done about London's toxic air.
I'm not against it. It's just the way forward is wrong. You know, you can't just punish the poor and the taxpayer.
At London's new City Hall, still a building site where the front door is crying out for a drop of fossil fuel, opinion is divided on the Mayor's plan.
It's about cleaning up the air. It's about having a healthier city where people are able to make journeys safely by walking and cycling, and they're not interrupted by hostile main roads which are full of traffic.
We all want clean air, there's no doubt about that. But quite frankly, this will hit outer London really, really badly. It'll hit families and certainly hit those that have not got very much money. Have you seen the price of electric cars?
The Mayor has asked Transport for London to carry out a consultation and feasibility study on his proposals. One or more of them could be in place before the next mayoral election in 2024.
But Simon, how likely are these plans?
Well, he can certainly extend the ultra-low emission zone. He's already done it once last autumn. And he can bring in a clean air charge. He wants it to be slightly more than a single bus fare, about £2, to make drivers think twice before they jump in their car for a short journey. Really, all he has to do is launch a formal consultation, then announce the plans. Bringing in a boundary charge for out-of-towners, people whose vehicles are registered outside Greater London, will be trickier. It will need the government's support. And the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, has made it clear he doesn't think it's acceptable for people who live outside London, who don't have a vote in London, to be taxed by the London Mayor. OK,
Simon, thank you. Well, the party fallout is being felt at Southend's by-election, with the voters there saying they're frustrated by the scandal. But the race to fill the seats left vacant by the death of MP David Amess will be slightly different after all major parties decided not to stand as a mark of respect. From Southend, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
It's the by-election no one wanted. The Conservative candidate, Anna Firth, is going from door to door. But the other major parties aren't standing as a mark of respect for Sir David Amess. So it should be an easy win for the Tories. But Downing Street parties are overshadowing the campaign.
I, like everybody else, was not happy to hear about parties happening in number 10. I stood in this selection on a ticket of those who make the rules must stand by the rules. So, of course, I'm not happy about that, and I'm very pleased that the Prime Minister has apologised, as he did last week in the Commons. There is an inquiry, but I think the broader message here is that the Prime Minister has got the big things right.
Sir David Amess had a majority of more than 14,000 votes at the general election. He died from stab wounds in October during a constituency surgery at Leigh-on-Sea. To test the political temperature, we spoke to voters in Southend, some floating, some committed.
I'm not keen on Boris, and I never have been, but I can't see it at the moment. I can't see a prospective replacement for him. I think he's been very underhand, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
The campaign here might be low-key, but events in Downing Street have clearly cut through.
I think there comes a time when people think, am I being taken for a fool here? And I've been hearing people saying that, I've been taken for a fool. How many more lies do we need?
I think there's a lot of people trying to get rid of Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings especially. I think he's the one who's been behind it all.
The elite always get the, you can do what they like. Always. It's just more publicised now, isn't it?
It's looking busy today, is it?
Stephen runs a minicab firm and thinks the by-election should focus on Southend, not Downing Street.
At the end of the day, this is a local matter, the by-election. I don't think that the national problems should really be considered in it.
Paul is one of his drivers.
I can't tolerate people having parties and breaking the law. My wife was in hospital. She was in a coma for 3 months. She was in hospital for 5.5 months, of which the only time we could visit her was when she was sort of seriously ill at the time.
Southend West voters will choose their new MP in 2 weeks' time.
And here's a full list of the candidates standing alongside the Tories in the Southend West by-election. Polls open on February the 3rd. Well, there will be more on that in the late debate with Simon later on.
On the late debate tonight, we'll talk about that by-election campaign and discuss the Prime Minister's prospects after a seismic week at Westminster. The Conservative Party is in turmoil, but for now, Boris Johnson seems to be hanging on. I'm joined in the studio by 3 MPs, Boris backing Andrew Rosindell, Labour's Ruth Cadbury and the Deputy Leader of the Lib Dems, Daisy Cooper. We'll also discuss the Mayor's plan to make motorists pay more to drive in London as a way of cutting congestion, pollution and carbon emissions. That's the late debate on ITV after news at 10.